Hey y'all, welcome to Wild Blue. So I've done quite a few videos about aliens lately, about the different alien races that have been seen, the different places they may have come from, the different things they do, such as abductions and implanting people, and quite a few other topics out there. But today we're going to be talking about why they're here. What is their purpose for traveling all through space to come and visit us here on Earth? Is their visitation here for the benefit of mankind? Or is it something much more sinister? And stick around, we're going to look into it here on Wild Blue.
Aliens are among us. No doubt about it.
So getting on into this, we're going to look at some of the theories as to why these aliens are visiting us here. Now a lot of people get this idea that, humanity's kind of at the center of the universe, and some people's heads are so big that they're actually going to have some planets start orbiting around it. But the thing is, we're just this tiny speck in the vastness of the universe. So what about us is so important that these aliens with their highly advanced technology will travel all that way through space or opening portals or what have you to come visit us? So I'm going to look into some of these ideas and maybe we can try and figure out why these guys are coming here to see us. Now the first idea that we're going to look at is that the aliens are here to warn us of some kind of cataclysm or some sort of event coming up in the future, basically telling us that, we're going to destroy ourselves. Now this is a pretty common one in your alien encounters, especially with the Nordic aliens. Ever since these encounters really started happening back in the 1940s and 50s up until today, it's been a common theme, and a lot of it seems to be tied with our advancement into the atomic age. After the first nuclear explosions took place and into the next few decades as testing really took off, we really saw an explosion of these UFO sightings, especially around these military and government facilities. And seem to be tied to the testing and the use of nuclear weapons. And so when people encounter these aliens, whether it be through an abduction experience or telepathy or some other form of communication, that's many times what they bring up is, that we're about to destroy ourselves, and they're oftentimes trying to warn us about the dangers we present to ourselves. And they seek that humanity put aside its differences and work together for the common good. And by doing so, we could even potentially join their interstellar community or all the other alien races that may actually already be linked up through some sort of galactic highway, and we may gain access to this through our putting aside of our differences and joining together in a kind of a peaceful society. Now this seems a bit altruistic on their part, really kind of heartwarming, doesn't it seem? But could there be more to it? Now this brings us to our next theory as to why they're here, and that is they're coming to invade our planet. An old school alien invasion, here to harvest all our resources and force us into laboring on their mining colonies somewhere in the distant part of the galaxy. And it seems that it'd be real convenient for them if we actually disarmed ourselves so they wouldn't have to take the trouble of doing it, basically tricking us into disarming ourselves at their behest. Any time in human history when a more advanced civilization comes in contact with a less advanced one, it never ends up well for the one that's less advanced. They end up being subjugated in some way, or in many cases completely wiped out. Now you can imagine the explorers back in the 1800s meeting up with the people on Easter Island, seeing this technology that they could barely even comprehend, and then they end up fighting these guys and they just don't stand a chance. And that's really why we don't have any Easter Islanders left, and the same fate could be had on the whole planet if these alien beings decide to come here and they don't have our best interests in mind. And that would likely be our fate in a scenario such as this. Now it's interesting growing up with movies like Mars Attacks and Independence Day, and even going further back and looking at stories such as War of the Worlds, any of those movies from the 1950s and 60s, all the sci-fi movies, you look at those and the majority of them that have to do with aliens are focused on these aliens invading our planet and trying to take it over. But I feel like these days that's not the case. The more movies come out as regarding aliens, it seems like less of them have to do with some kind of alien invasion. So what you hear about is this theory we're going to talk about next, is that the aliens are just here to study us and kind of learn about what we are here on Earth as human beings. And they're kind of neutral here, just observing us. You know, I hear people say sometimes that, you know, if these aliens have these such advanced capabilities, why would they waste their time to come here and visit us on Earth? I mean, wouldn't they have something better to do? More advanced alien species to communicate with? And it says if these people believe these aliens wouldn't take the time to study us since we're basically too primitive for their communication and their contact. But the thing is, you know, you got people here on Earth that are willing to travel to some of the remote jungles of the world to find some unknown species of bacteria or bug or something and study it to the ends of the Earth. Now you can imagine that the same sort of spirit would be taken into space as we continue to explore our solar system and potentially even other parts of our galaxy. And the question is, why wouldn't aliens want to do the same thing? You know, maybe that is applying some sort of humanity to them that they maybe don't have, but that's something that you got to look into. You know, a lot of people think that maybe the gray aliens are actually just some kind of organic robot that's been designed to go out and scout through the universe looking for some sort of interesting things that they can study, whether it be humans or locating resources that they can come and harvest, which would be going back to the previous theory. And now we got our final theory that we're going to discuss here, and that is that aliens are actually using us here on Earth, humans, to save themselves. Now they're basically creating alien human hybrid creatures, basically like a human alien chimera of sorts. And you hear about it all the time in alien abduction cases. It basically goes that the aliens suffered some sort of calamity many years ago, and now their race is basically barely holding on, and they're trying to come up with some sort of solution to address this reproductive crisis that they've run into. And their solution involves basically creating these hybrid alien creatures using humans here on Earth. Now this particular theory can kind of overlap with all three of the ones that we've already discussed. You know, it could go back into, you know, these aliens are trying to form some kind of bond with us through creating these sort of hybrid beings that share the DNA of both humans and aliens, and that'll allow us to progress into their galactic society. Now it could be just part of their studying to see, you know, how it'd go with, you know, you have an alien human hybrid. And then the last one here, you know, it could be that they're basically creating these sleeper cells of human alien hybrids that resemble humans to a great degree, but at some point when they're ready to begin their invasion, these cells of aliens will actually become soldiers in their alien army that will rise up when the time is right to invade our planet. Now that one can apply to any one of the other theories, and you know, you'd think with all the years that have passed we'd be somewhat closer to having an answer to all this, but we're still just as far away, and it remains just as much of a mystery as ever. And one thing I like to point out is that all the theories we've discussed here today have been from the perspective that these are space aliens or potentially even interdimensional beings. But you know, there's other thoughts out there as to what these aliens are. And I mentioned it in my last video on this topic, but you know, you look back at the angels and demons discussed in religious texts, especially texts such as the Bible, and you can start drawing some parallels between some of those ancient stories and what we've got going on here today. And you know, that's definitely a topic for another video one of these days. So anyway, that's it for this video. If y'all got any stories or any sort of video footage of any sort of UFO sightings or Sasquatch, anything y'all want to share here on Wild Blue, send it to wildbluetvstories@gmail.com. Check out our Facebook page and check out our website, and like and subscribe if you liked the video. And with that said, Wild Blue out.